Bonjour, Ani, Nishnababika, and Nishnagars. My name is Phyllis George. I'm from the Chippewas and Kettle and Stony Point First Nation, and I am the princess pageant coordinator of the Chippewas and Kettle and Stony Point First Nation. It is an honor to be able to do this video on behalf of our previous and our present princesses. In the past, we have had many people that have contributed to the powwows through the years, and we are celebrating 50 years of our princesses of the Kettle and Stony Point First Nation. I would like to have an honorary mention of the late Laura Fidge-Wild, who was part of the powwow, and also I want to mention honorary mention of Bonnie Brissette, our elder on the First Nation, who was always had an input with the powwow, and Carol Pelchier. Carol Pelchier, she was actually one of the princess organizers too, and I know it is the girls have really done great videos with regards to the contribution of this celebration. And since we haven't had any powwows in the past 2 years, I thought this would be a great honorary for our princesses as to where they are, what they've been doing, and what being a princess in recognition of our First Nation, what it meant to them. So this is great. I'm so happy that we've been able to combine the previous and the present princesses. I'm just so thankful and grateful that we have this opportunity to present this video on behalf of the Princess Pageant, and thank you very much.
This is actually the first time I've done this, so I was the first princess. Of course, there were a lot of different feelings going into it. Excited, scared. Yeah, those were the two main ones. For me, it was also the start of my culture because we had been pretty well contained. I think my father was both my father and mother, I think, had residential school experiences because they kept our home very private. So I didn't know much. Like doing that partridge dance, that was new to me, and I had a sense that we did things like that. But it was also what started me on my journey, my cultural journey. And it wasn't until I met an elder, and I knew what an elder was, that I really became involved in the culture. And so now every day it's thanking creation, thanking Kitchen Manado for my place in this life, and just encouraging others whenever I can, and just being here. So much to be thankful for. But that leads back to the princess and all the learning that I did over the years. So I don't know if I hadn't done the princess, what would have happened? And my father, especially, he was very, very private. I'm not sure why he kept people away. I think he may have been taken as a child himself. So the privacy, and anybody who came to the house might have bad medicine. So while I was doing all this with the princess, I was finding out all these little tidbits, and going, wow. When they took me off reserve, they had my dad's permission, but it was, and it took me until like 10 years ago to realize that I was suffering from culture shock still, because my dad had trees all around our property. And I think the reason being is because we lived below the hill, and the people on top, he was afraid that they would say he has kids, because back in the day they reported people who had kids, but I think we were way past that by then, but still it lingered in his head. And when we would go home, well, we never practiced any kind of culture. He knew some of the language. He would have my uncle come over with sweetgrass once in a while. Like before I went out he did smudge me, and I'm thinking, what's this? He told me it was to protect me. And there was other people he wouldn't allow on the property. Why, I don't know. But once again, I'm thinking because they might report us. Because I come from a family of, at that time, I probably had 4 other sisters. And when they took me to Windsor, my grandmother, he didn't tell her right away. She came out and she tried to hide me in her closet. She wanted me to go in the house and hide because she was afraid. So that's why I think that my father or his siblings might have been residential school. My mother, when we went to school, to the Indian Day School, she cut her hair and she cried. But that was something that she had learned in residential school. And then also the influences from the churches in Fort Huron were quite big at that time. I don't know, they were coming over and taking people to, I think, the Pentecostal church, but I'm not sure. Those left a lot of bruises from what I can see and understand. I'm still not sure. I'm still trying to understand that. They're still fighting about it. And it makes me sad because we have such a wonderful culture. I believe 16. Yeah, it was a different time back then. We were protected on the reserve, but in my case, they had taken me off the reserve, and so how can I say this without they kind of used me as a role model because I had been taken off the reserve, and they wanted me to enter so that I could demonstrate the polish that I had supposedly acquired living in the city. But when I came home, I was nominated by Bob Brissett, and he had to ask my parents because at that time they were so afraid that things would happen to me. I don't remember a lot of it. What I do remember is that we had to write a speech on either Kettle Point, what we liked about Kettle Point, what we were proud of, or to pick a topic of our own. So I chose Kettle Point because, my home, eh? I think there are about 6 or 7 of us. So, and it was, it was scary. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But thankfully, because being the first princess, I don't think anybody really knew what we were doing at that point. I did go off reserve to a couple of hockey tournaments to represent Kettle Point, and I think that was about it, because at that time we were just coming back into our cultural ways, and it was kind of scary for me because we were very private people at the time. So to go off reserve, but I knew my cousin was nearby, so I didn't worry too much. But it's come a long way since then, and it took a while for it to happen. I mean, 50 princesses later, and we finally have 2 princesses who are out there representing in a really, really good, positive way, and I'm happy about that. I was just reading the one, she's doing a dress drive for the prom, grade 8 prom. The other one has picked on the language and is very staunch in what she believes in. And they go to all kinds of openings. Back then there was a there wasn't too much of that happening. You maybe went to other powwows and represented at other powwows, but to me, it was never about that. It was about going out into the community and to share the knowledge and the culture and to help the First Nations grow in a good way, to show them that we weren't, the people that they've always tagged us to be. Well, listen to me, tagged. I'm on the cell phone too much. But yeah, really, really happy with the way it's going. And I wish back then, but because it was the first one, that I had known. But once I realized that I was some sort of a role model of being a former princess, I also stepped up my game and started trying to help the young ladies out. Like not all the princesses, but trying to be that grandmother type person. Just trying to show them that there's kindness that's needed out there, that the teachings. One of the things that I do remember is, and I don't know if this pertains to my short time there, I remember being taught the partridge dance, and I'm thinking, why? But now I think it was part and parcel of the ones who were going to be princesses, to give them some sort of cultural background, because I don't think they realize that everything that we do is a teaching. It's a blessing. It's what our ancestors did to survive. And the other one that I had wanted to see put in place was to have an elder, or someone who is well liked, like such as Phyllis, to mentor them in the ways, because living off reserve and living on reserve are two different sets of styles. You go off reserve and you're not prepared for how busy life is outside. Like living on reserve, it's well, our reserve is pretty busy, but it's a different lifestyle. And I think that's why a lot of the young ones get lost. I know I did. But anyway, for somebody to mentor them so that if they were having a rough day and they didn't know who to turn to and they wanted someone to talk to and who had experience, that would have been really great too, to have a mentor, someone just that they could turn to if problems were at home and they couldn't talk to an auntie or an uncle or a grandma or a grandpa, someone outside of the family unit that they could turn to. These two lost princesses, they've got very strong support. But I know there's a few other princesses that could have used somebody in their corner, or even to explain certain things to them. Like I said, I'm so happy to see all that they've accomplished. And Murder Missing Women, the young one from Sarnia, she was out there dancing her little heart out. And I was just so happy because so many people don't recognize things like that. It could be any one of us. That dress that I had on was made out of white oilcloth by a friend of mine. And it was, you can't see it in the picture, but he cut fine strips. It was so heavy. I lost 10 pounds wearing it, but it was so beautifully made. So I just want to mention that. But my first dress was just a replica of whatever I thought I should be wearing. But the regalia today is so more intricate. Crowns. I was very happy to see this. The powwow committee did put in for the crowns, which were quite expensive. And each princess, after I think it was about I've been with the committee about 3 years, and they were making the larger crowns, which were passed on to the next princesses. And then they had made them little bands, very cute bands like this, as a gift for when they left. So that was something that had never happened before, and I was really happy about it too, because to have recognition past that year. But right now, I'm really, really happy with the princesses that are out there. And I'm hoping that this will lead to all princesses striving to be the best that they can be.
Hi, Sagoli. Bonjour, Ronnie. My name is Phyllis George, and I was Miss Kettle Point in 1976. And I was interviewed by Carol Pelchier, and she had asked me when I started dancing when I was 13. So she had asked me, she says, in the Princess Pageant, in the contest, she says, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be? And what would you like to contribute to the First Nation? So that was 45 years ago. This is 2021. So I was Miss Kettle Point 1976. So when I was 16. So in the past 45 years, there's been a lot of transition in my life. I have actually I've completed college. I went back, made some different changes in my life. At one point in time, I was 265 pounds. I had an eating disorder, and I now have lost over 100 pounds and know the importance of our health and how we need to take care of ourselves. Both of my parents were diabetic, and they passed because of the issues of the diabetes. And I know that diabetes is one of our issues that we have in the First Nation territories. So when my doctor told me I need to take care of myself, so it's been about 15 years. So my point that I want to share with others is the importance of us taking care of ourselves health-wise. And we need to, it starts with us. I mean, we have to make those changes, and you're worth the change. And it's so important to be healthy, because that helps with the longevity of our life. I have studied radio, television, journalism. I have worked in social services for over collectively 17 years. I have wrote a book. I'm a published poet and writer. I wrote a book in memory of my mother. From Christian Island First Nation, and my mother and father both went to the residential school. So they went to residential school in Muncie First Nation, and through the years, I've really know the cause and effects that the residential school has had on the impact on our communities, and how important it is to understand that. And I know on September 30th, we have the Indigenous Day in which, and recognition of the Truth and Reconciliation. And it's so important too that we, not only on September 30th, but all the way through the years to come, that we recognize those children that never got to be parents, grandparents, and never got to have an impact in our society. So that is really important that we recognize that, like throughout the year. And many of us did go to day school. I did go to day school at the Chippewas and Kettle and Stony Point First Nation, and that had an impact too. But you know what? We overgrow. We learned that that's not who we are. We make changes in a positive way. A lot of times people can stay stagnant, and we never grow. We never have that opportunity to make those positive changes in life. And my mother did tell me that. She says, you know, you need to go get your education and have a better life, and do what you can to contribute to the First Nations. I am a grandmother and a mother. I have one daughter and 3 grandchildren that I love dearly, and I'm so grateful for them in my life. I'm really excited about the opportunity to be able to be part of this video, because I think it's important to share where we were, how we've contributed to our First Nations, and what we plan to do in the future. So I'm with excitement. You know, like I've gone through a transition of many things in life. Through separation, great losses and stuff like that. But, you know, I have had those mentors in my life that I'm really thankful for, that have helped me to be where I am today. So, you know, like I say, with my parents, with both of them gone through the residential school, my aunts and uncles, also a lot of my family members are veterans. My father was a veteran of World War II, and my uncle Al Saba, my aunt Alida Brass, my uncle Putty. Like I've had many family members that were veterans as well, and the powwow, when we first start the powwow, we have a veteran song in honorary of them. So when I participate in the powwows, and part of that, you know, that's what it is, in memory of our veterans. And it's so important that we remember our veterans, because that's all part of who we are and why we have what we do have with regards to the freedom. So I also like to do art. I've always been kind of articulate in a way that I do some art as well. So in my book that I contributed to my mother, Measurements of Moments, I've also have some of my art that I have done in there. So I doodle a lot. We've always had dogs. We always have dogs on the res. So we always had different dogs, different names. So I drew a lab for my dad. And that's in my book too, of the lab that I drew. And I also drew an angel, one of my very best friends. She passed away from cancer, Patsy Wolf, and she was a great friend, and I miss her. And but you know, all of these people that have made contributions to life, in our life, we acknowledge them, because it's so important as to you know, where we've gone, what we're doing, and in the future. So I did end up going back to school. I went to school for a total of 7 years. And I also I work with people in business. I am a manager of a corporation, Tecumseh Community Development. I've been with this organization for over 7 years. So I really like to see the success of others. I look at that dream, as I mentioned when I talk about a dream. Follow that dream, fulfill it, and you're going to have people that will be there to help you. And that's why I really stress the importance of, in our position as working for the Tecumseh Community Development, how we can help others and help them to achieve their dreams. So I also want to acknowledge this picture in the background. Now, this picture is of Kettle Point. This picture was gifted to me from my cousin Denise Matthew. She is a band member of the Kettle and Stony Point First Nation. So when we talk about following our dreams, I mean, Kettle Point is so gifted with so many people. A lot of women are in either they are lawyers, or they have their doctorate degrees, nurses, like it's just amazing the amount of women that have continued their careers, like gone into film and stories and art. Like we have so many of our First Nation women that I'm so proud of, and our community is so proud of, and where they're going to go, what they're going to be, and the importance of recognition of them. And I'm so thankful that I've been able to, as a previous princess, like I'll be 62, so it's only a number, So the princesses that have been able to participate in this video are truly a blessing as to the future of our identity of who we are as Indigenous First Nation women, and to be proud of who you are, and always show that gratitude of the people that have been there for you and supported you. And because like when you get my age, I mean, those are the people like my aunties and my uncles and you know, my friends who have been there, and like through the transitions of life, no matter what it is that we go through, you know, we always want to do our best, and we want to leave that mark, because it's important that, especially with our First Nations, many of us live off the First Nation, not by choice. Maybe someday we'll be able to live there, depending on the housing. But you know, like I'm so thankful. I always have a heart of gratitude, and once again, those people, the elders and family and friends who have been supportive through the years, you know, we acknowledge them, and we always will. So, as a previous princess, I know 45 years is a while, but it's exciting to see as to where I started off so many years ago and where I am. I am still a dancer. I'm very proud of who I am as an Indigenous woman, and I will continue to uplift and encourage and recognize those young women as they go forward in their life, and some of us older women and our elders respectfully as to you know, all part of the nation, and how we're going to go and grow. That's what it is. You know, we got to think of our generations that are coming up, and how we want to set a way in which is for them, with their growth and confidence and with their self-esteem. And you know, our parents have gone through so much, and we've gone through things as well through day school, but we don't stay there. Like we go and grow, and that's all the purpose of it is that we do, trying to encourage others. So as the princess, I always said that I wanted to come back and work for the First Nation, and you know, and be proud of who I am. I actually did work in economic development as well for the First Nation, and I always like to see that despite the negative stuff that's out there as well, there's so much positive stuff. So we need to really focus on the positive things, and like we do, we recognize the wise women that sit on our council. It is important that you know, they have laid the foundation for other people to be on council too, because our voice needs to be heard and respected. So you know, that is something too, that someday that maybe some of us could be on council and have a voice. And so we've gone through different things in which helps us with our growth, and respectfully we will, you know, be sitting there someday. And so as the princess, as the previous princess, I want to have and share such gratitude of what it was like to be a princess many, many, many moons ago, but still to be the confident woman that my mother wanted me to be, and going forward, still continue to contribute to our communities through my chosen field in which I work in, but also away from work, to be helpful in any way I can, and to be positive. And yeah, through Facebook, I always post positive posts, because that's important too, because you just never know what somebody's going through. So yeah, it's exciting. So I want to congratulate all the previous princesses and wish them well in their future, and this opportunity to speak about what it was like to be a princess, and Like our regalia has changed, but our step never changes. And when we dance, it's a dance of honor of who we are, of our First Nations, and respect. Respect is one of the biggest things in which we need to do, with dignity and with confidence and with perseverance going forward, how we could make an impact in our communities and in society. And once again, I think it's important to recognize through the TRC the Truth and Reconciliation of our First Nation people and the residential school in honor of them. So I want to take this time to thank everyone for watching our video, and look forward to seeing what's going to happen in the future with our powwows and how we can ignite and be excited about who we were, who we are, where we come from, and what we can contribute in our communities. So, Wabmen, thank you for this time in which I was able to speak about being a previous princess. Miigwech.
Ani Bojo, Bagoni Gijikwe Nindishnakas, Wiokodong Minwa Ajadana Nindonjaba, Anishinaabe Kwe Nindo Namabendodum. I am Candace Scott Moore from Kettle and Stony Point First Nation. I am so happy to have this time to share a little bit with you about what it means to me to have been crowned Miss Kettle and Stony Point when I was a teenager. At that time in my life, becoming Miss Kettle and Stony Point gave me so much pride in myself and the community that we live in, being able to share the beauty. And I remember being asked, what is so great about Kettle Point, right? What's so great about the community? And I know, and still to this day, I do believe the most beautiful thing about our community is our people, our community, our aunties and uncles, our grandparents, the children. You know, we are what makes the community. And that is why, I felt that I needed to share this, because we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different dreams. Everybody's dream is different. And sharing those dreams and being able to encourage each other and celebrate each other, and helping to get to where we need to be in life. And that is what makes us beautiful, just being able to be together. We all have our differences, and that's good too, because it gives you a different look on life. I'm a big picture person. I like looking at the big picture from all angles and hearing other ideas, seeing and hearing what what people have to share, what experiences they have, what knowledge they have. Go away. Okay, and this is one thing that I want to say. Get your education, follow through, commit, because put into yourself, you're investing in yourself, in your career, and the things that you are going to do and you're going to accomplish. Go out, get your education, come home, bring what you have learned out in the world and bring it home and share in the community. I remember when I was going to theater school, I used to come back home and share community theater teachings, and we wrote and created plays about our community and about our people. And now I'm an event producer. I'm a television producer. I do some really cool projects and get to meet some really inspiring, motivational people. And being a part of this group of creators, this group of people who have broken those barriers, have put our people and our stories on a great platform. I enjoy what I have learned, and I enjoy coming home and sharing and being able to help with events in our community today, being on the Kettle and Stony Point Powwow Committee, being a part of the Minnow Bamadzwin Optimist Club here in the community, just lots of things. The Right to Play group and working at the Elders Lodge. There's so many things that we can go out and learn, but bring it home. And as you may or may not know, I actually live half of my life in Australia on the other side of the world. I travel a lot for work. I've been coast to coast across North America. And I have to say, Kettle and Stony Point is by far the greatest place on earth. And I'm so proud to be from this community because I love our people. I love you all. And I can only wish the best for us, for the future generations who are coming, and just be proud of who we are and continue to build the strength of our unity and our community. Yeah, Chimigwech.
Ani, my name is Angela George. I'm from Kettle and Stony Point First Nation. I'm from the Turtle Plant. I was princess of Kettle and Stony Point First Nation about 23 years ago, and it was in 1998. This was a defining moment for me because it was the first time in my life where I learned I could accomplish anything with perseverance and dedication. It's the first time I felt confident. It's the first time I had a sense of being successful. So it really encouraged me. It helped me develop a sense of being despite not even knowing a thing about my culture at that point in my life. My upbringing was mainly from a Christian upbringing. So when I stepped out to become princess, it was out of the norm for my family, but I received a lot of support. Even those that were brought up in a church themselves, they came out, they encouraged me. And what that taught me is that you can be free. It taught me about unity. And that kind of stuck with me my whole life. So as I grew up, I didn't look at other people as different. I realized we all come from the same place. So despite being nervous when I was the princess, the girls that I was with, we sat there in front of the judges and we encouraged each other. And to me, that was a blessing because we weren't there to compete. We were just there to love each other and to encourage each other, just to keep going. After I was princess, I was part of the youth committee in Kettle Point. About 7 or 8 of us youth together writing a proposal to open up an old building in Kettle Point, which is now the youth center. So I was really happy to be a part of that. We all worked together and made a good plan, and it remains today. In my younger days, I attended many seminars. I traveled around. We did a lot of workshops up north. I remember going to Kenora, and there was a lot of suicidal awareness workshops. It helped me feel ready because sometimes suicide is prevalent in our communities and people don't really know who to talk to or where to go. One of the things I felt proud about because I felt like I was educated enough as a youth to reach out to my friends if they were struggling. Since then, I moved to Lansing, Michigan. I went to Lansing Community College. I was a phlebotomist at one point. That's where I started, and I carried on. I completed my juvenile justice. I worked for the Ingham County Court, and I pursued my bachelor's degree in social work, and I worked a lot with teen court. So a lot of my life, I've always advocated for other people. I always see the best in people, and it's a blessing. I love seeing only the best in people. It's a strength, and my job as a helper is to pull the strength out of others so they can see what I see. Well, after that, I moved back to Canada and I pursued my master's of social work at Wilfrid Laurier. And my dream was to be a helper. Ever since the beginning, I just wanted to be there to help people through the tough times and through the good times. So today I have my private practice. I focus on holistic healing and Indigenous methodologies. I'm a helper with a strong emphasis on spirituality. I largely focus on the medicine wheel theologies, which encompass spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional aspects to create balance and bring healing. So that's what I do today. Growing up, I saw people struggle with addiction. I wanted to help with that addiction. I'm like, how can I help? As I started getting into the role as a professional, I learned that the root problem is the trauma. So there's unresolved issues that people need to to work through. So that's why I focus on trauma and addiction. I know it's the trauma people need to work through to become a stronger person and to overcome those addictions. So today, that's where my passion is. And I really strongly feel my first experience feeling successful as a princess, it really guided me. That was the first time I felt achievement, and I just moved forward from there. If it wasn't for the support I received from others, it might have been a little harder. So one thing I know for certain is that dreams are worth fighting for. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of determination. There's lots of ups and downs. Success is not a straight line. It's not like a straight line. There's going to be ups and downs the entire way. So I share that because I don't want you to feel discouraged. You need to just keep pressing forward, and your dreams can come true. Don't give up.
Allez, bonjour, c'est Rose George, and this is my name is Sarah Rose, so we're all in English. Said hello, how are you? From Kettle Point. I was princess in the year 2000. They crowned me Millennium Princess. I was 16 years old. I was the first princess to be crowned for a second term, which was pretty cool because I was actually really sad when they said, all right, okay, when the year comes up, it starts to get a little bit sad and bittersweet at the same time because it was a lot of work that I've done for the community and I would be teaching dancing, and we did regalia workshops and things like that. So it was a pretty fun year because there was lots of stuff happening because it was the millennium. Everyone was freaking out because it was the year 2000. There was so many interesting opportunities that I was able to engage in and be part of. There was lots of celebrations. It was cool because then I was able to go for a second term and continue on with the programs that we had started for community members, for the young ladies. And through all my years of being princess, I added it all up. I was princess for a total of 8 years because then I was crowned the first Miss Kettle Point and was able to continue on doing beaded crowns. And then it was after a few years after that, I stopped doing the beaded crowns and kept going on with my own thing. So that really opened up doors for me in the community because then I was able to, assist anybody who needed help. So if the princesses come to me and ask me for advice and things like that, especially if they were going to compete for princess, I was able to sit down with them and tell them this is what they look for in a princess. They're looking for good role models. They're looking for people who wants to help out in the community and to be excited to help and to represent your community. You walk around with a smile on your head held high and knowing that you're Anishinaabe and that, that you have this opportunity to shine. Being princess in good learning grounds to help establish yourself within the community as a good role model to say, there's other things to do other than, what normal teenagers would do, I guess, because that wasn't part of my life. I never behaved the way some do. I would be at home, working on my studies, and my mom would encourage me to do the best that I could do. So I really did. And if somebody needed help, I would be there to help. But I'm happy with doing beaded earrings and jewelry because my work has gone international. My work was published in a magazine, and seeing my beadwork on models, I was just, ecstatic to see that. I was very excited because I never thought in a million years my work would go as far as it's gone. Right now I'm working on an order for a woman in France, and it's gone beyond Kettle Point, gone beyond the borders of Kettle Point. The best words I can offer for young women around here. They're wanting to be princess. Give it your all, make mistakes because that's how you learn. Not everything's going to be perfect. Not everybody is the same. And what you bring is going to help show other younger girls that are looking up to you, that there's more to life than, just our community. There's a world beyond it. You never know how far you can go. It's really beautiful to know that we're not confined to just our borders at Kettle Point, that there's something awesome out there, and you just give it your all, give it a shot, dream big. Whereas my work is concerned, I never ever thought my work would be going to Australia or be going to Hawaii and France and other places like that. And if you need help, we're here to help. We're here to, give you the best advice that we can and to encourage you. And, that's all I can say, dream big, go for it. is just give it your all, do your best.
Bonjour, Namgamunkwe Indigenous Cause, Majikan Ndodem, Kikanong, Ajunong, Ndunjaba. My name is Summer Manning Cat. I am the daughter of Jane Manning and the granddaughter of Rose Manning. When I was young, I was very shy and quiet and just overall uncomfortable being the center of attention at any point. So my role as Miss Kettle and Stony Point was the first position I had where I was forced out of my comfort zone, and it made me more comfortable in my voice as well as myself as a whole. This position showed me the importance of going outside of my comfort zone and the growth that can be achieved by being brave enough to do things even though they might make you uncomfortable. I've continued on a path of trying new things and putting myself in positive spaces that make me uncomfortable. When I was 20 years old, I moved to Toronto on my own and I secured the Kiowa Wind Memorial Internship at the Royal Ontario Museum, where I continued to develop my skills and become more confident in myself. I was fortunate to work with a strong Indigenous woman and other strong women of color that supported me, my professional growth, and truly wanted me to succeed. After that, I secured an internship at the Commons at 401, where I was fortunate to have the opportunity to assist with the Imaginative Film Festival. Originally, post-secondary was another one of those uncomfortable spaces for me, and at times it still is. But it has also become very important to me, and I really see the value of it now. I think it's so important to learn as much as you can in order to contribute back to the community. I originally completed a liberal studies diploma, and then I moved on to York University, where I earned my Bachelor of Indigenous Education. And then now I am currently taking an advanced diploma in business administration at Lambton College with the intention of continuing on and getting my Bachelor of Commerce. I've always participated in leadership groups such as Indigenous Student Councils while attending post-secondary, and currently I'm the president of the Indigenous Student Council at Lambton College. I believe that our youth are the key to the future, and it is important to me not only be a positive role model for youth, but also to seize every opportunity to mentor youth as well. I've been really fortunate for all of the people in my life, including everyone in my family, my friends, my supervisors, and my community members. I acknowledge that all of these people have made me who I am today.
So my terms of being Power Princess in Kettle and Stony Point, I was first crowned as Little Miss O'Damon in 2010 to 2011 was my first term. And my second term, I believe, was 2017 to 2018. So I got to do 2 different terms, as I said there, and they were both very different and special. Both terms, I got to go to the Gathering of Nations powwow in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The first one was very special because I got to go with my grandpa, Bob Brissett Sr., who was the Eagle Staff Carrier of Kettle Point. And it was always special at the Kettle Point powwow, especially being able to do grand entry with him and participate and learn my culture with him. Being in the Gathering of Nations grand entry was probably the most special time for me as well. The second time I went to Gathering of Nations, my younger sister Rhea was the junior Kettle Point princess, and in between my time, my middle sister Aurora was the princess. So it went from me to her, back to me, and my younger sister at the same time. It was awesome because all 3 of us were able to, all 3 of us were royalty and able to represent Kettle Point very respectfully and humbly. My parents were always supportive of me learning my Indigenous roots and culture, and I do my best to help educate and help with reconciliation whenever possible. I keep those memories of my time as princess and Little Miss O'Damon, as they are very special and honored my ancestors. So taking my time as princess, I focused on a goal. The first year that I was princess, it was to recycle more and try and get more recycling in the community. And I was a little bit successful. We had a couple of days that we had clean up in the ditches, which I was really happy about because it was a good step forward. And my second year, it was my focus to learn more about my culture, to make sure to spread that to my friends so that they can understand my culture and about me, my background. And I also wanted to focus on learning the grandfather teachings and learning the traditions and being able to apply those to my everyday life, such as smudging ceremonies, being able to talk to Creator as much as I can, and being thankful for what I've been given and blessed with for this life that I have. So since my time as princess, I have enrolled in the pre-service firefighting at Lambton College. I then graduated, and this year enrolled into fire science, and I will be graduating very soon from it. It makes me very happy to help people, and it also is amazing to be able to be part of history, as women are still only a very small percentage of firefighters. So it's great to be one of those women that get to help the next generations come in and get a chance at that career that's mostly male dominated. And people may tell you that you're not strong enough, you're not the typical role model for a firefighter, but that's out the window now. The first female firefighter was back in the 1800s. She was a slave in New York, and I think it's only 7% of career firefighters in the US and Canada is women. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you're not strong enough to do something, because if you put your mind and your heart to it, you can do anything in the world.
Bojo Benesquis Indigenous Cause Mang and Dodem, Kikunanga, Wikajinanga Donjaba, Ojibwe Anishinaabe Medesh Kinikwe Kikunanga, Wikajinang Princess in Dal. Hi, my name is Benesi Quay, and I'm the princess at Kettle and Stony Point. I'm 14 and I go to St. Pat's. I'm in grade 9. Today I just wanted to talk about the importance of being princess and the great honor I have representing my community. And I think that being princess is not really about the title or, oh hey, I'm princess, look at my crown. I think it's about representing our community and representing the young people and going to other powwows and going to events and sharing like what I think, because when I'm princess, the things I promote, promote MMIWG, the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women movement, about our missing sisters. That's what I promote as in my position in the things that I can do. And lots of other princesses do lots of other different things. And the junior princess, my younger princess, my relative, Jaden, I think she promotes the water and clean water and those kinds of things, and that's really great. And that's just some examples of the great messages that our young people can share and that our princesses can share. So it's a great role for all young people to look to. And I know Jaden is very wise, and she would love to accept questions, and so do I. And just being here as a young person to show a good role model for young people, and show a good leader, and show somebody who takes care of their mental health and walks the good walk and doesn't take part in alcohol and partying and drugs, who's clean and sober and happy with a good life. I think that's part of the role, is showing that you can have those lives as a young person, and you don't need to fall into the peer pressure and the people around you. Even though they take part in that partying life, you don't need to. You can be strong, and there's other youth who are strong too. so you can look up to us as clean and sober young people. That's all I'd like to say today as current Princess Miigwech. I hope.
Ariboju Jalen Wolf Nidishnikas, Maraswa Shuswe Ninjun Sabonges. Welcome everyone to the 50-year celebration of the Princess Pageant, celebrating princesses from the past and the present. I am honored to represent our great community of Kettle and Stony Point as Miss Kettle and Stony Point Jr. Today we will first acknowledge our traditional territory, which gives us great pride, our First Nation of Kettle and Stony Point. We are blessed to be able to come together as one and celebrate the amazing experiences and life opportunities that each one of us princesses have been able to have. We want to share our princess journey with you. May you know one and may you become one. For all of the young girls, may your dream of being future Miss Kettle and Stony Point Jr. come true. You can be a princess too. What have I liked most about being your princess? Wearing this beautifully beaded crown and being able to represent our First Nation community. Being part of the community by participating in events such as Unity Gathering, making bath bombs at the Elders Lodge, and the New Year's Eve Bash. I also enjoyed being able to help others in so many ways, such as Cinderella's Closet and Night Suit for the Grade 8 grads coming up, being able to protect our elders through a donation of hand sanitizer for the Elders Lodge, helping the Habitat for Humanity build through receiving donations for safety boots and hand sanitizer. One of my favorite things to do was gift jingle dresses and ribbon skirts to young girls. Their faces upon receiving the dresses just melted my heart. These gifts meant so much to these young girls. May they will find their jingle journey too. Perhaps one day they will be Miss Junior Kettle and Stony Point First Nation. It was an honor to enter the powwow dance arena representing our First Nation. Hearing the First Nation called over the speakers everywhere I traveled to dance meant the world to me. In the town where I live, a group joined together to help feed poppies for Remembrance Day, which I gifted the poppies at the Kettle and Stony Point Remembrance Day event. I was also able to make a few videos of storytelling with the book that led me to my culture, and I shared it with others in hopes that others would find their jingle journey too. During the lockdown, I was able to make with my brother a Pass the Brush video where I proudly wore my princess crown and have participated in festivals, parades, storytelling at museums, and many more events. While being the princess, I have been able to raise awareness for the MMIWG, Missing Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, through videos, paintings, speaking engagements, and social media. May they never be forgotten, and may there be no more stolen sisters. Silence no more. Be their voice for someone who hasn't found theirs yet. When everything went virtual due to COVID, I was able to have my portrait painted by the amazing artist Nyana LaFond. I was honored to be a voice for the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. When I look around, I see all of you. I look up to each one of you. Everyone has a gift, and I'm lucky enough to have shared this experience with all of you, including the princesses that have come before me. I love being able to represent my First Nation, and I could not be more proud to wear this crown. I have cherished this time being your junior princess. I recommend to all the young girls of Kettle and Stony Point that they should too join this journey of representing our community. There are lots of opportunities, and it is a lot of fun. This experience has been filled with so many blessings, which I am thankful. I would like to thank everyone who has encouraged and supported me on this journey. Each one of you who has helped me proudly represent our First Nation. Miigwech.
Thank you. I'm really glad that you have taken the time to look at our video. It is with great honor that we've been able to work together with the princesses, the previous princesses, and the present princesses. So on behalf of the Kettle Point powwow, we want to thank you for looking at our video, and we are so proud of our princesses and where they are and where they're going. They have the future ahead of them, and it's so exciting to see as to where these women are going to be long term. I just want to share this one poem that I wrote, and I think it's really important and relevant to what we're talking about in the future. Never say you'll never be. Never say you'll never be. Our dreams are high to hold on to. Our dreams are real to make come true. No matter what you choose to be, you're strong and beautiful and wise and free. No one has the right to say that you will never be. You will never be. So fulfill your dreams and hold them high. And remember those who care. They will share your success and be proud of you, of who you are today. With faith and trust by your side, your dreams become reality. When someone says that you will never be, they are a stranger to you. You know their heart's not there. Their doubtfulness is his and hers, not yours. So wave it goodbye. So be on with your life and strive for what you believe is true. The will to live your greatest dreams, which is reality. Never say you'll never be. Now that poem I wrote many years ago with regards to, a dream, whatever the dream is, like with these princesses, whatever the dream is, no matter how old you are, no matter, the age that we are, some of us are older princesses, past previous princesses, but, we can still follow that dream. And no matter what it is, if it's go back and get your education or change careers, those things are all possible. Everything is possible. And at this time, too, I would like to have an honorary mention of two of our previous princesses who are no longer with us, Laura Lee Wolf-Burzett and Rebecca Kim Jackson. Two of those beautiful women are no longer with us, but we want to end with an honorary recognition of those beautiful names. So thank you very much for taking the time for looking at our video, and looking forward to the day in which we can dance again. Most of us are still dancers, and that's just something that's part of our culture that we love to do. And that time in which we get to be together in powwows, we miss that. We haven't been able to do that, but I know we will be able to in the future. So, once again, thank you very much and appreciate it, and share with others. Okay, woman.